We just finished the brimstone round, and now we're going to go do the fantastic being round. I'm going to do this in two videos. First thing I'm going to do is the human player has being choice, but I'm going to swap. I'm going to swap that out and make the AI opponent have the being choice marker, and the human being will have second being marker. The reason why I want to do this is because I want to show you how to run the AI when they have being choice and how to run the AI when they have second being. And so let's check out what beings we have in play. We have the Berserker and we have the Paralyzer. Let's go over to the tablet where we'll play out purple having being choice and the human player having second being. Okay, so we're back at the tablet and we're doing the fantastic being round. So we click on that and you can see up top it says brown has being choice and purple has second being, but we swapped that out on the game board. So I've never really played it like this. I think it'll be fine. We're just going to pretend that purple has the being choice. So let's go through these blocks real fast. Let's go through this block. Okay, the king with being choice marker goes first, and then the king with the second being goes second. So we have purple as that, so purple's going to go first. Okay, so let's go down to here. If an AI opponent has being choice, you want to focus in on this section right here. Let me explain how this works. You can read this. I'm not going to read it to you, but you can read it, and I'm just going to explain to you how it works. You see this drop down? It lists all the beings, okay? And it lists it in an order. So in our example, we have the Berserker and the Paralyzer in play. You can see the Berserker has a priority of 6 and the Paralyzer has a priority of 10. So the AI would select the Berserker. Okay. Now, that doesn't mean the AI is going to use the Berserker. There's certain requirements that need to be met. If these requirements aren't met, then you select the Paralyzer and see if those requirements are met. And if those requirements aren't met, then you select something called, I'll show you. If this click would stop working. You'd select something called Southernmost Being, but I'll explain that a little bit later. Okay, so let's look at the requirements for the Berserker. The requirements are shown in blue. Okay, and it reads, after movement, the Berserker is within 3 spaces or less of any brown unit that is not in a structure. If not, then don't move it. Requirements are not met. So when I look at the board, I'm not going to flip over the board right now. The Berserker has a movement of 3M, 3M. So that means he can move 3 spaces on the ground. And after 3 spaces, he won't be within 3 spaces of any brown unit. So these requirements are not met. So I'm going to have to select the Paralyzer. All right, so the Paralyzer, let's look at the requirements of the Paralyzer. After movement, the Paralyzer is within 3 spaces or less of a brown unit that's not in a structure. If it's not, don't move it, but the requirements are not met. But there is an exception to this rule. You ignore requirements and select Paralyzer if the Paralyzer has this kingdom's ATF paralyzed. So what that means is, if the Paralyzer, say the Paralyzer didn't meet the requirements, so you can't use it. If, for instance, it happened to be adjacent to your active task force, a member in your active task force, you would then select the Paralyzer and move it away. All right, so in this example, neither are met. So we have to do this. We have to select the southernmost being. Okay. And let's read the requirements for the southernmost being. The requirements are both fantastic beings in play failed, so you select the southernmost being. If it's a tie, use the furthest east. All right, so the southernmost being is the paralyzer on this one. And let's read how you use it. So whenever you select a fantastic being, the blue text is the requirements. If the requirements are met, you can execute the green text, which shows you how to use it. Okay, so the green text says you basically treat, you can read this for yourself, but it just basically, you treat the southernmost being like it's the second being. So you would basically, right here, you would de facto scroll, whoops, gotta turn this off. You would scroll down to here and use this section right here. So let's do that. You basically roll. I roll a 4 and a 6, right? And it's purple, right? So you would move south, right? So I'm going to move the paralyzer south. Let's go back over to the board and do the actual movement.
All right, we're back at the board, and since both fantastic beings failed to meet requirements, we used the southernmost being, which is the paralyzer. And the paralyzer, we rolled the dice, and it was chosen to move south, and it's an 8M. They have two designations. You can see here, 7F means it moves 7 spaces, but he flies, so every space counts as 1. And this is an M, so I'm not sure what it stands for. But anyway, we'll just say manual, right? So he moves on the ground, and forest costs 2 spaces. So he's got 8M, so 2, 4, 5, 6, and he's off the board. When a fantastic being moves off the board, you discard it and randomly draw another one. You're supposed to throw them right back in the cup, so you could possibly draw it again. I don't like that, so I'm just going to randomly draw another one. See who we got. And we got the eagle. All right, so that was it for the AI player. Now we're going to do the human player. The human player gets second being choice, and that would have to be the berserker because the other being was already used. And we're going to flip over to the tablet and show you how to do that.
Okay, we're back at the tablet, and it's the human player's turn. Remember, we're pretending he has second being. So all you do for the human player is go down to the second being section, which is circled, and make sure you change this to brown. And then we just roll 2 dice. It rolls 2 dice, and it says a human player can either move the second being north or northeast. The second being is the berserker. You can think of second being as being called the being that wasn't used as being choice. All right, so we're going to go back over to the board, and we're going to move the berserker north or northeast. I'm going to actually choose north because that looks like it's further away from my guys.
All right, we are back at the board, and we're going to move the berserker north. He was the second being. Remember, second being you can think of as the being that wasn't used during the being choice, and that was the berserker. And we decided to move him north. He's a 3M, so let's move him. 1, 2, 3. That's it.